So good morning ma'am, good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss the Lesson 18, Republic Act number 9262, Violence Against Women and Their Children Act. Here are the reporters. We have Ms. Maria Isabel S. Neri, Mr. Ian Philip P. Nevalio, and yours truly, Ms. Phil Ivy H. Owarde. Lesson objectives. At the end of this discussion, the students should be able to: Number 1, discuss the important provisions of VAUSI Act or RA 9262, understand the details of its commission, and lastly, comprehend actual cases involving the said law.
Definition of terms. Protections orders. Orders issued by the barangay or the court, distancing the perpetrator from the victims and vice versa for the reasons provided by the law. Yung protection orders po, ito yung mga batas na nagbibigay kalayaan at ipaglaban ng bawat isa ang kanilang mga sarili using by the court. Public crime. Nature of a crime wherein it is considered to be an affront to the society, allowing who has personal knowledge to file a case for violence against women and their children. Yung public crime naman po, ito yung mga krimen na naganap sa mga pampublikong lugar tulad sa mga palengke, kalsada, plaza at iba pa. Dahil dito pwede lahat magsampa ng kaso ang gumawa ng mga krimen, especially in the public places. Battery refers to an act inflicting physical harm upon the woman on her child, resulting to the physical and psychological or emotional distress. Yung battery naman po, ito yung tumutukoy ito sa isang act or gawain ng isang lalaki through physical na pananakit sa mga babae o asawa nila at sa mga kanyang mga anak. Nagre-resulta ng pagka-depress sa pagkatrauma ng bawat miyembro ng pamilya. Battered woman syndromes refers to a scientifically defined pattern of psychological and behavioral symptoms found in the women living in the battering relationship as a result of cumulative abuse. Yung battered woman syndrome naman po, ito yung resulta ng pagkakabugbog ng babae na nakaapekto sa kanyang lubusan na pagkawala ng komunikasyon sa kanyang relasyon sa kanyang asawa dahil sa pagkakaabuso ng kanyang asawa. Stalking refers to an intentional act committed by a person who, knowingly and without lawful justification, follows the woman or her child, or places the woman or her child under surveillance directly or indirectly, or a combination theory. Stalking, ito yung pagsusunod sa iyong mga anak at asawa na walang otoridad ng sinumang miyembro ng pamilya, at kayo ay sinusubaybayan ng palihim. Dahil dito, ito ay isang paraan ng paglabag sa batas at nagdudulot ito ng pagkatrauma at diligtas ng iyong asawa at anak. Dating relationship refers to a situation wherein the parties live as a husband and wife without the benefit of marriage, or a romantically involved over time and on continuing basis during the course of a relationship. Casual acquaintance or ordinary socializations between two individuals in a business or social context is not a dating relationship. Yung dating relationship naman daw po, ito ay tumutukoy sa relasyon at communication ng isang lalaki at babae na nagsasama na sa isang bahay or kwarto kahit di pa sila kasal. Bakit ito tinawag na dating relationship? Dahil sila ay nagsasama na kahit hindi pa sila kasal. Sexual relations refers to a single sexual act which may or may not result in the bearing of a common child. Yung sexual relations naman po, ito yung pagtatalik ng magkarelasyon or magkasintahan na kahit sila ay magtalik man, dapat daw hindi magresulta ng pagdadalang tao or pagdadala ng bata ng babae na kanyang nakatalik. Safe place or shelter refers to any home or institution maintained or managed by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, or by any other agency or voluntary organization accredited by the DSWD for the purposes of his act or any other suitable places that the residence of which is willing temporarily to receive the victim. Yung safe place or shelter daw po, ito yung inilathala ng Department of Social Welfare or Development or DSWD na pwedeng tirahan at matuluyan ng mga tao, lalong-lalo na kung sila ay naaabuso or pinagsamantalahan or pinagmamalumpitan, at dahil sa DSWD, sila ay matutulungan sa kanilang mga pangangailangan. Children refers to those below 18 years old of age or older but are incapable of taking care of themselves as defined under Republic Act number 7610. As used in this act, it includes the biological children of the victim and other children under her care. Yung children daw po, ito yung tinutukoy nito, yung may mga edad na 18 pababa na di kaya alagaan or buhayin ang kanilang mga sarili. Ito ay kinukuha or dinadala sa DSWD ayon sa batas ng Republic Act number 7610. Yung Republic Act number 7610 po, ito yung pagpoprotekta sa mga under 18 sa discrimination, bullying at sa mental disability or a condition.
I have here questions and I want to hear your opinions about it. Sa tingin nyo ba guys, katanggap-tanggap ba yung reason na hindi ko na siya mahal? Di niya na kasi mabigay yung gusto ko para saktan mo yung asawa, yung partner mo or yung ka-live-in mo? Do you know someone who experienced violence? So RA 9262 has 50 sections but we'll only just focus on the said section in this report.
Good day everyone, this is Maria Isabel and this is the introduction of Lesson 18. The Republic Act 9262 or the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Anti-VAUSI Act of 2004 is the result of the strong advocacies on the women's human rights in the country. This law was deemed to be a significant victory for all Filipino women as it was based on the right of women not to suffer abuse, discrimination, and violence in their respective relationships. So under Republic Act number 9262, otherwise known as the Violence Against Women and Their Children Act, was approved on March 8, year 2004. Former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo implemented law passed to protect women and their children from violence. Kaya nagpatupad ang ating former President Gloria dahil marami nang inaabusong kababaihan noon. Binigay niya ang buong suporta niya kasi as a woman, hindi natin deserve maabuso o gawan ng karasan kahit pa man husband or boyfriend pa ito or kahit anong relationship pa kayo meron. So alamin natin kung ano nga ba ang VAUSI. What is violence against women and their children under Republic Act 9262? So it refers to any act or a series of acts committed by an intimate partner, husband, ex-husband, live-in partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, fiancé who the woman had sexual or dating relationship, against a woman who is his wife or former wife, against a woman with whom the person has or had a sexual or dating relationship. So, dating relationship, ito ay ang mag-asawa na namumuhay na walang benepisyo na ng kasal o sinasabing hindi kasal pero sila'y patuloy na magkarelasyon. Against a woman with whom he has a common child. So, common child, ito ay yung bata na legal na responsibilidad ng unang pamilya ng mag-asawa kahit na hindi sila kasal or hindi pa kasal. Against her child, whether legitimate or illegitimate within or without the family abode. So, ang Republic Act 9262 is against sa mga bata, ampun man or hindi. So, when we say family abode, it is the place where one lives. For example, kagaya nung eldest brother ko, hindi sila nagkaanak. So, kaya ang ginawa nila is nag-ampon sila. So, kahit ampon nila yon, minahal at tinuturing nila yon tunay nilang anak, of which results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering or economic abuse, including threats of such acts, battery, assault, coercion, harassment, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. Battery is one criminal law which it is an unlawful application of force directly or indirectly upon another person or their personal belongings, causing bodily injury or offensive contact. An assault is an act of committing physical harm or unwanted physical contact upon a person. A coercion. Actions may include extortion, blackmail, or even torture and sexual assault. And harassment. If someone is abusing, insulting, or otherwise harming you or a regular basis. We have four important features of the law include: 1. Four kinds of violence against women and their children are defined. The law defined four kinds of violence: physical, psychological, sexual, and economic. It is effort to encompass all types of abuses inflicted to women and their children. We have physical violence, acts that include bodily or physically harm or battery. When we say battery, it causing bodily injury or offensive contact. Causing, threatening, attempting to cause physical harm to the woman or her child, placing the woman or her child in fear of imminent physical harm. So for example, sa isang pamilya, kung ang lalaki ay paulit-ulit nananakit, nanununtok, naninipa, nang sasakal, nang babanta, na papatayin ka, tinatangkaan kang saksakin, kagaya nung nalamang dito sa amin na may isang pamilya na yung asawa is laging lasing. Kapag umuwi sa bahay nila is gagawin na naman ang nakatroma sa mga kasama nito. Hindi lang sa mag-asawa kundi pati na rin sa mag-boyfriend or girlfriend o iba pa ang relasyon. So dapat hindi yan binabasta-basta kasi masanay at masasanay yan, so don't tolerate even though mahal na mahal mo yung tao. So I have a questions guys. Mananatili ka pa ba sa paulit-ulit na pang-abuso if ever man na ma-encounter or ma-experience nyo yan? We also have economic abuse, an acts that make or attempt to make a woman financially dependent upon her abuser, which includes but is not limited to the following: preventing the woman from engaging in any legitimate profession, occupation, business, or activity except in cases wherein the other spouse, partner, objects on valid, serious, and moral grounds as defined in Article 73 of the Family Code. So the Family Code is the basic law covering persons and family relations, governs marriages, legal separation, property relations between spouse and parental authority, among others. Controlling the woman's own money or property, or solely controlling the conjugal or common money or properties. Dito naman is kagaya ng asawa ng kapatid ko is inaabuso nito si kuya, which is sapagkat kontrolado nito kung ilan dapat ipadala ni kuya. So kuya also giving full support to one's child they have, whether it is illegitimate, never niya iyon pinabayaan dito. Baliktad kasi lalaki ang inabuso. Destroying household property. Yun na nga po kanina, may isang pamilya dito sa amin, pera ang pinag-aaway nila. Kapag walang pera, mainit ang ulo. So, kahit walang pera, mangutang ang lalaki, pambili ng alak. So, the point is, dahil sa alak at epekto nito, mag-iiba ang pag-uugali nito. So, dahil nga lasing at maraming problema sa loob ng bahay or sa buhay nila, naninira siya ng kagamitan at lahat ng gamit is tinapon nito sa labas at sa palayan. I have a questions about economic abuse. For instance, kung ang ex-husband ba ay tumigil sa pagsuporta sa mag-ina since 2 years, pwede pa ba iyon kasuhan? We have psychological violence. It is an acts or omissions causing or likely to cause mental or emotional suffering of the victim, which includes but is not limited to the following: controlling or restricting the woman's or her child's movement or conduct, threatening to or actually depriving the woman or her child of custody or access to her or his family, depriving or threatening to deprive the woman or her child of a legal right. It is what we call emotional abuse or mental abuse, the psychological violence. So dito may pagbabanta kapag ang mag-asawa ay nagkahiwalay, ang custody ng bata ay mapupunta sa ina, lalo na kung ang ama ay walang kakayahang pangalagaan ng anak. So maybe it is opposite depending on the situation of parent. So some example is that a battered woman syndrome. A battered woman syndrome, the set of symptoms, injuries, and signs of mistreatment seen on a woman who has been repeatedly abused by spouse or partner. So some example is that battered woman syndrome will not automatically disqualify from having custody of children unless the court has some other compelling reason. Causing mental or emotional anguish, public ridicule or humiliation to the woman or her child, example, repeated verbal and emotional abuse and denial of financial support or custody of or minor children, or denial of access to the woman's child or children. So here, for example, causing mental and emotional abuse for children. Kapag ang ama ay paulit-ulit na sinasaktan ang asawa sa pamamagitan ng mapangahas na pananalita, paninigaw, mapang-abusong pananalita na nagdudulot ng trauma, takot sa bata o sa mag-ina. Threatening or actually inflicting physical harm on oneself for the purpose of controlling the woman's actions or decisions. Ito yung mga magpartners na under ng kanilang girlfriend, ng kanilang husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend, or ito ay kontrolado nito lahat ng galaw, decisions mo sa buhay, at ito ay pagkukulong sa bahay. It includes causing or allowing the victim to witness the physical, sexual, or psychological abuse of a member of the family to which the victim belongs, or to witness pornography, any form of, or to witness abusive injury to pets, or to unlawful or unwanted deprivation of rights to custody and or visitation of common children. Causing substantial emotional or psychological distress to the woman or her child. We have stalking or following the woman or her child in public or private places. Ito yung susundan ka ng asawa or magulang mo na wala ka man lang kaalam-alam kahit saan ka man magpunta. Peering in the window or lingering outside the residence or the woman or her child. Syempre kung may stalking, may peering, or yung sinasabi nating laging nakadungaw or nakasilip sa labas na laging kang inabangan. Destroying the property and personal belongings or inflicting harm to animals or pets of the woman or her child. Engaging in any form of harassment or violence. Nagkakas din ito ng pagsisira sa mga personal belongings, lalo na kapag sa loob ng bahay maraming masisirang gamit dahil sa alitan ng mag-asawa. Additional example is when your husband cheating on you for over 2 years now with various women, you can file a vow case for psychological violence because it can cause mental and emotional suffering. We also have sexual violence. This is the acts which are sexual in nature committed against a woman or her child. It includes but is not limited to rape or sexual harassment, acts of lasciviousness, treating a woman or her child as a sex object, making demeaning and sexually suggestive remarks, physically attacking the sexual parts of the victim's body, forcing him or her to watch obscene publications and indecent shows, or forcing the woman or her child to do indecent acts and or make films thereof, forcing the wife and mistress lover to live in the conjugal home or sleep together in the same room with the abuser. So, kagaya nung pagkaso kay Vong Navarro, which leads an acts of lasciviousness dahil sabi ni Denise Cornejo na hinalay daw siya ni Vong Navarro sa loob ng apartment nito. So, ngayon, si Vong ay kinasuhang lasciviousness at ngayon ay nananatili pa rin siya sa causing or attempting to make the woman or her child to perform sexual acts that do not constitute rape by use of force, threats, intimidation directed against the woman, her child, or her immediate family. For example, ito sa pamilya, mga instances na tatakutin at babantaan ka or babantaan ang bata kung hindi pumayag or ayaw makipag-sex na kesyo papatayin ka or ang ibang pang mahal sa buhay. Kaya, pepersahin ka nito na gawin ang hindi mo gusto. Prostituting the woman or her child. For example, yung magulang mo is ipapasok kanya sa isang trabaho pero yun pala ay papasukan mo is magiging bayaran ka or yung sinasabing prostitute. I have also questions. You as an individual to the point na baon na kayo sa utang at madaming problema. So the question is, papipiliin ka. It's either pera or dignidad. We have number 2. Vowsy is a public crime. The crime is perpetrated not only against a single individual but against the entire society. Thus, anyone who has personal knowledge of the abuse, violence, or discrimination can file a complaint. So, thanks to our former President Gloria, dahil sa kanya may batas na para sa mga inaabuso, pinag-discriminate na mga babae na anytime pwede kang mag-file ng complaint, lalo na kung hindi na tama ang trato sa'yo or marami nang naagrapyado. Number 3 is, protection orders can be issued against the perpetrator. Upon filing the case, the victim, survivor, or anyone who has personal knowledge can apply for a protection order to enforce distance between her and the perpetrator end. So, kung nangyari man ito sa inyo or sa iba, you have the protection orders under the VAUSI, the BPO, the TPO, and the PPO. Later on, I will explain the various kinds of protection orders. We have number 4, stronger community mechanism to respond to cases. Various government agencies are mandated to amply respond or formulate mechanisms to respond to reported cases of VAUSI and immediately.
Section 5. Acts of violence against women and their children. The crime of violence against women and their children is committed through any of the following acts. A. Causing physical harm to the woman or her child. Ito yung pananakit at pag-aabuso sa kanyang mga asawa at kanyang anak. B. Threatening to cause the woman or her child physical harm. Ito yung pagbabanta sa kanyang asawa at anak sa pamamagitan ng physical na pananakit. C. Attempting to cause the woman or her child physical harm. Ito yung sinusubukang magdulot ng kapahamakan sa kanyang mga anak at asawa. D. Placing the woman or her child in fear of imminent physical harm. Ito yung pag-aabuso or pananakaw sa kanyang asawa at anak sa kanyang kalupitan. Attempting to compel or compelling the woman or her child to engage in conduct which the woman or her child has the right to desist from or desist from conduct which the woman or her child has the right to engage in, or attempting to restrict or restricting the woman or her child's freedom of movement or conduct by force or threat or force, physical or other harm or threat of physical or other harm, or intimidation directed against the woman or child. This shall include but not limited to the following acts committed with the purpose or effect of the controlling or restricting the woman or child's movement or conduct. Yung letter E po, ito yung pamimilit ng kanyang asawa at sa kanyang anak upang makipag-ugnayan sa pag-uugali ng lalaki para di na magtangka pa ang kanyang asawa at anak na lumaban para hawak niya ito sa kanyang kagustuhan. Dahil kapag sila ay lumaban pa, babantaan niya ito at ito ay pahihirapan. And this is the common threat for the woman and the child. Number 1, threatening to deprive or actually depriving the woman or her child of custody to his family. Yung number 1 po, ito yung pagbabanta at pinagkaitan ng kalayaan at karapatan ng asawa or ng kanyang anak sa pag-iingat ng kanyang pamilya. Number 2, depriving or threatening to deprive the woman or her child of financial support legally due her or her family, or deliberately providing the woman's children insufficient financial support. Ito naman yung pagbabanta at pagkakait sa asawa at mga anak ukol sa pinansyal na pangangailangan at pagsusuporta sa kanyang pamilya.
I
Number
have
3,
here
depriving or
questions
threatening
and
to
I want to
deprive
hear
the
your
woman of her
opinions
child
about it.
of a legal right. Ito yung pagbabanta at pagkakait ng kanilang sariling karapatan at kalayaan na gawin ang kanilang mga gusto. Number 4, preventing the woman in engaging in any legitimate professions, occupations, business, or activity, or controlling the victim's own money or properties, or solely controlling the conjugal or common money or properties. Yung number 4 naman po, ito yung pagpapanitili ng babae na magkaroon or maghikayat at makahanap ng trabaho tulad sa pagbibusiness or kahit ano paman. At dahil doon, kanyang asawang lalaki ay kinokontrol siya at kinukuha ang kanyang mga sahod, pera, or ari-arian ng babae para sa kanyang pansariling kagustuhan at kasakiman. F. Inflicting or threatening to inflict physical harm on oneself for the purpose of controlling her actions or decisions. Ito yung pagpapahirap at pagbabanta ng asawa ayon sa physical na pananakit and para na din makontrol ang kanyang pamilya at masunod ang kanyang kagustuhan. G. Causing or attempting to cause the woman or her child to engage in any sexual activity which does not constitute rape by force or threat of forced physical harm or through intimidation directed against the woman or her child or his or her intimated family. Yung letter G naman po, ito yung pagsubok at kusang dahilan ng anak at ng kanyang asawa para sa sexual na aktibidad na magreresulta ng rape, physical na pananakit, trauma at pagka-depress dahil sa direktang ginagawa ng asawa ng mga labag at kawalan ng respeto sa anak at sa asawa. H. Engaging in purposeful, knowing or reckless conduct, personally or through another, that alarms or causes substantial emotional or psychological distress to the woman or her child. These shall include, but not limited to. Yung letter H po, ito ang paraan ng asawa ng pag-iengganyo sa walang kaalam-alam at walang muwang para sa kanyang sariling hangarin na nagre-resulta ng depression, trauma, emotion at psychological sa kanyang asawa at anak. Ito yung mga dahilan or mga limited acts. Number 1, stalking or following the woman or her child in public or private places. Ito yung pagsubaybay sa asawa at anak kahit na mapaprivate man ito or public. Number 2, peering in the window or lingering outside the residence of the woman or her child. Ito naman yung paninilip sa bintana or pananatili at pagtatagal sa labas ng compound or sa bahay ng babae at ng kanyang anak. Number 3. Entering or remaining in the dwelling or on the property of the woman or her child against his or her will. Ito yung pagbabanta at pagkait ng kanilang sariling karapatan at kalayaan na gawin ang kanilang gusto. Number 4. Destroying the property and personal belongings or inflicting harm to animals or pets of the woman or her child. Yung number 4 po, ito yung pagsisira ng mga ari-arian at personal na gamit at mahalagang bagay. At ito ay nagdudulot ng pinsala sa mga hayop na pag-aari ng kanyang asawa at anak. Number 5. Engaging in any form of harassment or violence. Ito yung paghihikayat na gawin ang kasamaan at panliligalig sa karahasan ng kanyang pamilya, lalo sa kanyang anak at kanyang asawa. Letter I. Causing mental or emotional anguish, public ridicule, or humiliations to the woman or her child, including but not limited to repeated verbal and emotional abuse and denial or financial support or custody of a minor, children of a success to the woman, child, or children. Yung letter I naman po, ito yung nagdudulot ng pagkabaliw at pagkakaapekto sa nararamdaman at nagpapahirap sa kanyang asawa at kanyang anak. At lalong-lalong kahit sa pampublikong karahasan ng kanilang pagkatao, ito ay inaano pa rin ng kanyang asawa. At higit sa lahat, sila ay pinagbabawalan at nililimitahan ng kanilang pangangailangan sa kanilang pang-araw-araw.
Section 6. Penalties. The crime of violence against women and their children under Section 5 hereof shall be punished according to the following rules. So Section 5 is all about the acts of violence against women and their children. So acts falling under Section 5A constituting attempted, frustrated, or consummated parricide, or murder, or homicide shall be punished in accordance with the provisions of the revised penal code. If these acts resulted in mutilation, it shall be punishable in accordance with the revised penal code. Those constituting serious physical injuries shall have the penalty of prison mayor. So the duration of the penalties of prison mayor and the temporarily disqualification shall be from 6 years and 1 day to 12 years, except when the penalty of disqualification is imposed as an accessory penalty, in which case its duration shall be that of the principal penalty. Those constituting less serious physical injuries shall be punished by prison correctional. Prison correctional, suspension, and destierro. The duration of the penalties of prison correctional, suspension, and destierro shall be from 6 months and 1 day to 6 years, except when suspension is imposed as an accessory penalty, in which case its duration shall be that of that principal penalty. And those constituting slight physical injuries shall be punished by arresto mayor. The duration of the penalty or arresto mayor shall be from 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. And the duration of the penalty of arresto menor shall be from 1 day to 30 days. Acts falling under Section 5B shall be punished by imprisonment of 2 degrees lower than the prescribed penalty for the consummated crime as specified in the preceding paragraph, but shall in no cases be lower than arresto mayor. Letter B is acts falling under Section 5C and 5D shall be punished by arresto mayor. C. Acts falling under Section 5E shall be punished by prison correctional. Letter D. Acts falling under Section 5F shall be punished by arresto mayor. E. Acts falling under Section 5G shall be punished by prison mayor. And lastly, F. Acts falling under Section 5H and Section 5I shall be punished by prison mayor. If the acts are committed while the woman or child is pregnant or committed in the presence of her child, the penalty to be applied shall be the maximum period of penalty prescribed in the section. In addition to imprisonment, the perpetrator shall A. Pay a fine in the amount of not less than 100,000 pesos, but not more than 300,000 pesos. And letter B, undergo mandatory psychological counseling or psychiatric treatment and shall report compliance to the court.
So, under Section 8 of the VAUSI Act Protection Orders, Number 9262 calls for a liberal construction of the law to promote the protection and safety of victims of violence against women and their children. So, therefore, a protection order is available not only against the offender who is related to the victim by marriage, a former marriage, or a dating or sexual relationship. So, what if the male spouse complains about abuses committed by his wife? So, here is opposite, but he may file a complaint or case under the revised penal code. So, we have the various kinds of protection orders. These are the BPO, the TPO, and the PPO. The BPO or the Barangay Protection Orders refers to the protection order issued by the punong barangay ordering the perpetrator to desist from committing acts under Section 5A and B of Republic Act 9262. BPO shall be effective for 15 days. Ito ay sa barangay lang mismo. So, or what we called family court. Itong BPO is a remedy na ibinigay para sa mga biktima ng karahasan sa tahanan ng kani-kanilang barangay. So, it is issued by the punong barangay or the barangay council. The TPO or the Temporary Protection Orders, it refers to the protection order issued by the court on the date of the filing of the application after ex parte determination that such order should be issued. The court may grant in TPO any some or all the reliefs mentioned in Republic Act 9262 and shall be effective for 30 days. The court shall order the immediate personal service of the TPO on the respondent by the court sheriff, who may obtain the assistance of law enforcement agents for the service. When we say TPO is dito you can file either sa barangay mismo or sa regional court na. It depends sa case you're filing. So, TPO if this is to shield them from more harm, minimize any disruption in their daily life, and let them independently regain control over their life. We also have the PPO, the Permanent Protection Order. It refers to the protection order issued by the court after notice and hearing. The court shall not deny the issuance of protection order on the basis of the lapse of time between the act of violence and the filing of the application. PPO shall be effective until revoked by the court upon application of the person in whose favor it was issued. PPO ito ay sa kataas-taasang kaukulan na mismo that is requested by the prosecutor or lawyer from the judge. The law states that merely annoying the victim and causing further emotional and mental harm is considered a violation of a PPO. So, the temporary protection order and the permanent protection order are enforceable anywhere in the Philippines. The law enumerates the following reliefs that may be availed of through a protection order. We have 1. Prohibition of the respondent perpetrator from threatening to commit or committing personally or through another any of the acts penalized by the anti-VAUSI law. This is prohibition when someone commit threatening kasi diba kapag binantaan ka is syempre madami epekto yun sa tao, so may penalty siya. 2. Prohibition of respondent from harassing, annoying, telephoning, contacting, or otherwise communicating with the petitioner or victim survivor directly or indirectly. We have protection order that prohibited from harassing, annoying, and so on. We have 3 and 4. removal and exclusion of the respondent from the residence of the petitioner, regardless of ownership of the residence, either temporarily for the purpose of protecting the petitioner or permanently where no property rights are violated. And if a respondent must remove personal effects from the resident, the court shall direct a law enforcement agent to accompany the respondent has gathered his things and escort respondent from the residence. 4. Directing the respondent to stay away from petitioner and designated family or household member at a distance specified by the court, and to stay away from the residence, school, place of employment, or any specified place frequented by the petitioner and any designated family or household member. We have number 5. Directing lawful possession and use by petitioner of an automobile and other essential personal effects regardless of ownership, and directing the appropriate law enforcement officer to accompany the petitioner to the residence of their parties to ensure that the petitioner is safely restored to the possession of the automobile and other essential personal effects, or to supervise the petitioners or respondents' removal of personal belongings. 6. Granting a temporary or permanent custody of a child or children to the petitioner. 7. Directing the respondent to provide support to the woman or her child if entitled to legal support, notwithstanding other laws to the contrary. The court shall order an appropriate percentage of the income or salary of the respondent to be withheld regularly by the respondent's employer for the same to be automatically remitted directly to the woman. Failure to remit and or withhold, or any delay in a remittance of support to the woman and or the children without justifiable cause shall render the respondent or his employer liable for indirect contempt of court. 8. Prohibition of the respondent for any use or possession of any firearm or deadly weapon, and order him to surrender the same to the court for appropriate disposition by the court, including revocation of license and disqualification to apply for any license to use or possess a firearm. If the offender is a law enforcement agent, the court shall order the offender to surrender his firearm and shall direct the appropriate authority to investigate on the offender and take appropriate action on matter. We have 9. Restitution for actual damage caused by the violence inflicted, including but not limited to property damage, medical expenses, child care expenses, and the loss of income. We have 10. Directing the DSWD or any appropriate agency to provide petitioner may need, and 11. Provision of such other forms of relief as the court deems necessary to protect and provide for the safety of the petitioner and any designated family or household member, provided petitioner and any designated family or household member consents to such relief. So, everything is under the law, and the acts prohibited or punishable under Republic Act 9262. So, one of the reliefs that may be granted with the petition for a protection order is the award of actual damages caused by the violence inflicted, including but not limited property damage, medical expenses, child care expenses, and loss of income, as well as compensatory, moral, and exemplary damages.
Victim survivors of housing cases, Section 35 Rights of Victims. In addition to their rights under existing laws, victims of violence against women and their children shall have the following rights: to be treated with respect and dignity, Victims or not, we are all deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. To avail of legal assistance from the PAO of the Department of Justice or any public legal assistance. If in case na wala kang kakayahan para kumuha ng iyong sariling abogado, meron tayong PAO, pwede kang lumapit sa PAO or the Public Attorney's Office, and they are full support with regards to your VAUSI cases. To be entitled to support services from the DSWD and LGUs. So, if you are a victim, survivors of VAUSI cases, the DSWD or the Department of Social Welfare and Development and local government unit should have the support services from those victims. To all legal remedies and support as provided for under the Family Code. And letter E, to be informed of their rights and the services available to them, including their right to apply for a protection order. So if you are a victim, survivors of VAUSI cases, you have the rights and the services that you needed for your protection order. Duties of national and local government offices. Section 39, Interagency Council on Violence Against Women and Their Children, IAC VAUSI. In pursuance of the above-mentioned policy, there is hereby established an Interagency Council on Violence Against Women and Their Children, hereinafter known as the Council, which shall be composed of the following agencies. We have the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or the DSWD. So, DSWD is there to provide rehabilitative counseling and treatment of offenders towards learning constructive ways of coping with anger and emotional outbursts and reforming their ways. B is the National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women, or the NCRFW. So, the National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women reviews, evaluates, and recommends measures to ensure the full integration of women for economic, social, and cultural development at national, regional, and international levels, and to ensure further equality between men and women. We also have the Civil Service Commission, the Commission on Human Rights, which are full supports to the expansion of RA 9262 to cover such acts. Letter E, Council for the Welfare of Children, CWC. Letter F, Department of Justice, or the DOJ. So what I have said earlier, DOJ is one of the agency you can ask for legal assistance if you are a victim of VAUSI cases. Letter G, Department of the Interior and Local Government, or the DILG. Letter H, Philippine National Police, or the PNP. They are the ones who are going to help you in conducting the further investigation about your VAUSI cases. I, Department of Health, or the DOH. These are the agency you can ask for help to cure those damages that a man causes you. Letter J, Department of Education, or the DepEd. So you can ask them for help if your child is a victim of abuses. And letter K, we have the Department of Labor and Employment, or the DOLE. And letter L, National Bureau of Investigation, or the NBI, who can help you in conducting further investigation with regards to your VAUSI cases. So let's have now the Section 47, the duties and functions of barangay officials. In order to eliminate violence against women and their children, barangay officials shall: Letter A, undertake an education program on Republic Act Number 9262 and on violence against women and their children, and why it exists, the right and remedies of victim survivors, and the duties of residents and all barangay officials. So, dapat ang isang barangay ay magkaroon din ng programa tungkol sa RA 9262 para hindi lang ang mga babae ang magkaroon ng kaalaman ukol dito, kundi ang buong nasasakupan nito. We have a family violence prevention program including peer counseling for men. What I have mentioned in letter A, so the barangay should have a program not just for women but also for men para ma-educate sila kung ano ba ang dapat gawin, kung tama ba yung ginagawa nila. So bakit nag-i-exist yung mga batas na ganito para sa mga babae at para sa kanilang mga anak. C, support organizing efforts and development programs for women in the community. Nga nila, we should have women empowerment. So, syempre sa barangay, sa pinakamaliit na unit, dapat ito nagsisimula. Simula sa pamilya hanggang sa barangay, hanggang sa lumawak ito, dapat andoon ang isang organisasyon na susuporta para sa mga kababaihan ng isang komunidad. Letter D, prioritize livelihood projects for victim survivors. Are a victim of VAUSI cases, dapat ang barangay ay mayroong programa para sa kanila para makabalik muli sa simula. Letter E, involve women in planning and implementation of all programs and projects in the barangay. Dahil sila nga ay biktima na ng pang-aabuso, dapat kasama na sila sa plano. Women should also be part of the plans and implementation of all the programs and projects in the barangay involving women empowerment and educating men about these cases and why it exists. F, have an anti-VAUSI desk officer in the barangay who shall coordinate a one-stop help desk. As much as possible, this help desk shall be open for 24 hours. Letter G, ensure that all barangay officials, barangay health workers, barangay nutrition scholars, other barangay workers, and tanod or barangay security officers undergo gender sensitivity seminars to enable them to respond to victim of violence. Dapat yung mga barangay officials or health workers ay nag-undergo ng mga seminars kung paano mag-respond sa mga ganitong victims of violence. Kasi kung magre-respond ka without the knowledge on how you are going to take care of it, ano na lamang mangyayari? So matataranta ka, you don't know what to do. So it is better to have enough knowledge to educate yourself or attend the gender sensitivity seminars so that you know how to handle situations like this. Each, develop a system to document and report cases of VAUSI and assistance program to victims thereof. The barangay should be responsible enough in documenting those reported cases of VAUSI. Applicable or necessary, prescribe additional guidelines and standards provided that these are consistent with the Act. Hindi ka lamang dapat magaling sa una. Para bang sa panligaw, dapat consistent. So, dapat yung guidelines and the standards na provide sa isang act na ganito ay dapat patuloy pa din. Kasi hindi naman mananatiling isang araw lang siya mangyayari. It can be continuous.
Actual cases. Cases number 1. Dinamling versus CA. GR 1955-22, June 22, 2015. Ricky Dinamling, a policeman, was in 5 years relationship with AAA. They had 2 common children, aged 4 and 2. One night, he went to AAA's boarding house with a friend after a drinking sessions. As AAA was putting the children to bed, started to evict her for the reason that she was using the place as a warehouse, wherein she brought her partners. She did not want to leave, but he threw a baby's feeding bottle outside. She went to Triple B's house and requested to fetch her children. However, Dinamling already left the boarding house with the older child and only the baby was left. In the past, he would hit Triple A's head, pull her hair, and kick her. When Triple A went to the police, she was merely told that it was a family problem that could be talked over. 6 days after the incident, Triple A was at Triple C's house when Dinamling arrived. He shouted and counted down for Triple A's to come out. When she came out, Dinamling punches her at left ear, with which subsequently bleed. When Triple A asked him why, he kept on the following her when she already had left him. Dinamling shouted her family name and told her she was a good for nothing. Triple A left for the barangay captain house, but Dinamling caught up with her and kicked her until she fell on the ground. On the road, Dinamling pulled down Triple A's pants and panty and shouted at her while people looked on. Dinamling threw the pants and panty back at Triple A's and shouted her family name. Dinamling them, intoxicated, left and on a motorcycle. Then Triple A stayed at her friend's home until she felt some back pain in the next morning. She found out she was bleeding and about to miscarry, so she was immediately brought to the hospital. There she was told that she was 19 weeks pregnant and had an incomplete abortion. She was hospitalized for 4 days. The Dinamling visited her but showed no remorse over his acts. The Dinamling was charged for violence RA number 9262. In short, for these actual cases number 1, Dinamling vs. CAGR 1955-22 on June 22, 2015. In this statement, ito yung nangyari kung paano nag-commit ng kasalanan si Ricky. At dahil na din sa pag-iimbestiga ng korte sa petition for review on certiorari under Rule number 45 of the Rules of Court, assailing the decisions dated August 11, 2011 and the resolutions dated November 25, 2011 of the Court of the Appeals in CAGR's Control Number 329112, which affirmed with modification the connections of petition for violations of Section 5 in the relations to Section 6 of Republic Act Number 9262, otherwise known as the Anti-Violation Against Women and Their Children Act of 2014. And criminal cases number 1701 and criminal cases number 1702 are the two informations against him that offenses being attended by the special qualifying aggravating circumstances of the victim being pregnant at the time. Case number 2. Rustan ang Ipasco versus the Honorable Court of Appeal and Irish Sagud. 1828-35 on April 20, 2010. After receiving from the accused Rustan via multimedia message received or MMS a picture of a naked woman with her face superimposed on the figure, complainant filed in the action against said accused for violation of the VAWC Act of Republic Act RA 9262. The sender's cell phone number stated in the message was 0921 8084 768, one of the numbers that Rustan used. Irish surmised that he copied the picture of her face from a shot he took when they were in Baguio in 2003. The accused said to have boasted that it would be easy for him to create similarly scandalous picture of her and threatened to spread the picture he sent through the internet. This statement po, ito yung the true fact na nangyari sa cases and yung situation. Then yung decision po ng appeal is, these cases concern a claim of commission of the crime of violence against women when a former boyfriend sent to the girl the picture of a naked woman, not her but with her face only.
Violence against women isn't cultural, it's criminal. Equality cannot come eventually. It's something we must fight for now. By Samantha Power. Quotation, ang violence, hindi siya natural. Hindi siya yung parte ng isang kultura ng isang mamamayan. Isa itong krimen. You can cause death and trauma to a person who experienced this kind of violence. Women should fight for what is right, and we should not tolerate this kind of incidents. The source of our presentation for today. The seeds of success in every nation on earth are best planted in women and children by Joyce Banda. If you know someone who are experiencing violence, please get in touch in these agencies and their contacts. DSWD PNP, NBI, DOJ, and DILG. That ends our reporting. I hope you've learned a lot, and thank you very much. Have a nice day, everyone.